He, she's, theys, and all those who slay, whether you're an AEW sicko, a WWE shill, or just a fan enjoying a wrestling buffet, you are welcome here. Welcome to Kicking Out 2. I am Michael, and with me, as always, is my podcasting powerhouse who plays ready to cut a promo at any moment, my podcast partner, Tori, and from lightening up the live chat to commanding the podcast ring, she's bringing main event energy and championship level insight. And tonight, we are not just a tag team, we are rolling deep, taking those trios gold, and say hello to Lady Alpha.
Hey y'all, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you, Lady Alpha?
I'm pretty good. I'm good. It's hot, but we're good.
It is. My daughter wanted to go to the pool right before this, and I should have brought my swimsuit with me and dipped in a little bit because it is just too hot outside.
Yeah.
Real quick before we get started, we've got great news. We have a partnership now. We are partnered with Dubby Energy. Dubby isn't your average drink. No sugar, no crash, no artificial junk, just clean energy and focus that hits harder than a clothesline from Stan Hansen. Whether you're gaming, grinding, or fantasy booking your dream WrestleMania card, Dubby's got your back. Just go ahead and go to dubby.gg, use code KICKINGOUT, all one word, and you'll get 10% off your first order. So, W Energy, fuel up, kick out, and stay in the fight.
Have you used this stuff?
So I have used it before. Ironically enough, after we got the endorsement, I started looking through their products, and I recognized one of the shakers. It was a shaker that I had bought for my daughter. They were partnered with something that she watches.
Okay.
And so I actually ended up trying it before. They are going to be sending us some samples though, so I'll share those with you. That way we can both kind of, figure out what it is. Also, we do get a partnership. I'll talk to you about that after, as far as like we get a percentage too. So
it'd be free shit.
We'll, do free shit first, so we know it works. But no, it's really good, and they got some fun flavors. So we'll get into that. But before that, we go ahead and get into the news. I'm setting up our thing, and it's been so long since I've heard this because we don't hear it on the current setup that we have. And I was like, what is that playing? And it was the news thing. Oh, shit, I forgot what that sounded like. Anyway.
Way to be on top of things. Stampede's here. I don't know if you saw his comment.
I did see Herb's here too. It's always either Herb or Raj. I think I've been told that if it's the Herb and Raj podcast YouTube channel, it is 99% of the time Herb. So Herb, if that's you, thank you. If it's Raj, thank you. Either one.
Whoever it is.
Stampede, thank you for being here. Our resident encyclopedia.
I thought I knew some shit, but
I'm telling you, I have regulated myself to Stampede light on other podcasts. Because if Stampede's not there, they'll ask me questions to say in the chat. And I'm like, some of those things I had to look up. Big Mike. Welcome in the chat, sir. All right. First news, Liv Morgan's injury fallout. Obviously, we already talked about her injury last week as far as what's going on there. And we actually might have more to talk about on her injury in our 3 count later on. But one of the things that was asked about over on Fightful was like, what were the actual plans? Like, what was going to happen if she didn't get injured? What's been changed? And essentially it was a domino effect. Multiple storylines, a ripple effect of at least 8 different superstars were affected because of her now being gone. That is the greatest compliment I can get. Thank you so much.
That's
WKRP
amazing.
in Cincinnati was a great.
Somebody doesn't know WKRP.
Yeah.
We're probably too old for you. It's okay.
See, those things were like stream podcasts, but over the airwaves. You had to turn these knobs to get to the channels. Kind of like TVs were after that too. But so anyway, so you had the obvious feud with Nikki Bella that was looking like it was heating up. You had the tag titles with Raquel Rodriguez that kind of looked like maybe Brie was going to come back and be part of that. You had the storyline with her and Roxy of her kind of being a foil to her, maybe a mentor if they turn that around. The ties to the whole Judgment Day thing going against Io Sky and Kairi Sane. All of that was being explored, and now what do we do? And that's a great question, Big Mike. I mean, to me, the big question is we kind of stopped talking about Nikki because now you've turned on the whole Rhea being part of it instead of Nikki. So does Nikki now team with Rhea? or is Nikki just out of the conversation now? So, kind of interesting to see where we go with that.
I will say, if Nikki's just out of the conversation, I feel bad for her. Because I was kind of excited about Nikki coming back. Her and Liv would have been fun. I obviously have made my opinions on Brie felt.
Mode.
But I feel bad for Nikki because I know that this show is a big deal to her.
Yeah, it's sad to lose that opportunity.
That sucks.
Yeah. Lady Alpha, what do you think?
This is the first I'm hearing of that, but I knew there would be ripple effects when she got hurt because, I mean, just for her own story, I mean, it just brings everything to a standstill in that respect. So, I knew there would be some ripple effect. I had no idea it was going to be that massive.
Yeah, I mean, Liv had become a pretty good center part for a lot of things, and like they've obviously put their cart on her for a lot. Stampede says in the chat he hopes it's not a copy and paste of Roxy, Dom, and Liv over Liv, Rhea, Dom, that whole thing. I agree with you. I hope it's not just a copy and paste of that. I mean, that story is just so fresh in our minds. So we definitely don't need that to come back, of this weird love triangle. I do kind of like what they're doing with Finn is siding more with Roxy. He's showing up to the event with her and all that stuff. So hopefully we see more of maybe that than we see of her trying to win over Dom with those dry ass nuggies. Isaiah, welcome for coming in. Nate Dogg, appreciate you being here with his new account. I don't know why we had to get a new account, but it's neither here nor there. The AEW segment that happened that we won't be talking about because it was nobody's 3 count. Kota Ibushi returned. So that's a bit of news. Ibushi returned to AEW after an 18+ month battling through injuries. Great to see him back. That's all I can say to that. So apparently he's going to be working with Kenny Omega and Briscoe, which that's fun in itself, the idea of him being part of a team with Briscoe. Reasons you can't explain. That sounds ominous. That sounds like some Vinny stuff.
It's like a story we might need.
That's a kicking out to After Dark thing.
Oh my.
But anyway, so it looks like just from visible, it looks like he's in great shape and ready to come back. AEW sources have also said that Kota seems to be in much better physical place than he was when he was there the first time. So it'd be good to see him come back. Obviously, him not being part of WWE, they cut that tie, back in the day. The question is, are they going to look at him maybe down the line again now that he's come back and looking good? Yeah. Kota Ibushi is an amazing talent. I am not surprised that people. I am surprised that people had to ask you for his matches, because I mean he's had some great ones. That's one of those that he's not very hidden. But where do you think his ceiling is now that he's back in AEW?
I think he'll. I mean, you could, depending on how you played it, you could put the world title on. With this new unified title, whatever they end up calling it, God, I hope it's not the unified title. Honestly, if Kenny wins, I could see him feuding with Kenny. If they're not careful, they're going to give away the end of this match because you know that Kota is going to be Okada's first opponent.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to have to be a little careful with that. I mean, we obviously have a couple weeks, see how things play out.
And that's what we do here. Welcome new people in. So anybody we can bring into the fold is wonderful, Stampede. Godsend for doing that. Alpha, do you know anything about Kota Ibushi? Have you seen him?
No, I don't watch AEW.
Okay. Kota Ibushi was a big star in New Japan. He did a tag team with Kenny Omega, which I'm sure you've heard that name thrown around.
The Golden Lovers.
Quite often as the Golden Lovers, which was just a great tag team name in general. So Great talent though. He was in WWE for a
Yeah.
hiccup.
That was before I started watching. I'm a serious noob.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
That's all right.
I just started watching it last September.
Tori, I'm going to assume that comment's for you because I hope Paul's not calling me honey.
He hasn't been here for a while, so we can appreciate it.
I appreciate it. I'm just saying I'm assuming that one's for you. I'm not honey level. Yeah, Cody can be put in any situation.
Puppy dogs out because they were doing our yard. I'll be right back.
Okay. We'll go ahead and move on to the next row while we're doing that. So there's a stalled storyline going on in AEW right now. So it's more out of your comfort zone again. But you might remember the stars though. So Cope, also known as Edge, back in WWE, and Christian Cage. There's a story that was supposed to start with them quite a while back, but it kind of had been stalled because of an Edge injury that happened. Edge decided at his octogenarian age he was going to jump off the top of a cage and land on his feet, and broke both his legs. So so he was out for a while. Recently came back and he had a match with FTR, and they turned heel on him and all that. It was expected to lead to Cope and Christian then being a tag team again, like they were back in WWE days. But Christian didn't want to end the patriarchy, which is the current group he's a part of, with a couple of young wrestlers and one of the young wrestlers' wife. Not wife, excuse me, mother. He says he's his wife. So Cope's on-screen was discussed for Double or Nothing, but nothing materialized. FDR's heel turn was originally meant for the Outrunners. The Outrunners were actually going to be the ones that turned heel, but that changed. Then shifted to Cope when the bigger storyline was pitched. So the question is, did we miss our timing with the Cope and Christian feud? Would we care if that happened now? Can't hear you, Tori. I think you muted yourself.
My bad. As a team or against each other?
Just in general. I think the original idea was supposed to be a team.
I think we've done enough with this. Like, how long are we going to ride this pony?
Well, I think the idea was it was going to be the end of the run. Like, this was going to be both of them riding off to the sunset.
If that's the case, and we determine that this is their last match, period, like, they're done, one more time ain't going to hurt anything. If one of them is going to keep going, no, don't do it.
Okay. So another rumor mill that happened. So Stone Cold Steve Austin, even though he hasn't wrestled since WrestleMania 38, was during WrestleMania weekend, and said he might have one more in him at the time. The last reports was that TK haven't officially reached out to him, but there have been some dream opponents kind of thrown in there, which include Roman Reigns and CM Punk. So
no.
Tell us how you really feel.
It's too early for that. No. I love Steve Austin. He's a great guy. Met him. But don't start. I'll leave right now. There's just certain things that need to be left alone. His in-ring career is absolutely one of them. There's nothing he can do that I care about. The Kevin Owens thing was funny because Owens, it was a dream thing for Owens. Cool. No, we're good. Let's just not.
Is there anybody you would bend that on, as far as like if you wanted to see him in the ring one more time with somebody? Like, if we're not talking like CM Punk's or Roman Reigns, any younger talent or anything?
I don't think because they're not going to win. So him getting in the ring with anybody doesn't make sense. Now, you want to have him do like The Undertaker did with Rhea and give that rub? Okay, cool. In a segment, a help out, whatever. But in a match, absolutely not. Yes.
I do agree. 100%. It was a perfect send off for him. I think if just to play devil's advocate, if he did come back, excuse me. The only thing I would want to see is I'd want to see Theory get his lick back. Because we got Theory doing that face turn right now. If I could see him beat Stone Cold, or even come close to beating Stone Cold, rather than getting stunned out of his boots for no reason.
Does him beating Stone Cold help him at all? If we're trying to do a face turn, does him beating Stone Cold help him?
I think if we end that match with Stone Cold shaking his hand.
It does not help Theory to take that L, even with a handshake at the end.
No, I didn't say. I'm sorry. I didn't hear you say take the L. If he wins, I think it helps. I think if Stone Cold puts him over, shakes his hand at the end, I think that could be a good build up for Theory. That's only if he comes back, because on the bigger scale, I agree with you that I think he's already had a great send off. Let's cut it out, unless he's going to be like a special guest referee or in someone's corner, like something like that, something where he's not doing a full match.
And that I'm fine with. If he wants to show up and stand there, okay. That's fair too.
Now, wasn't his big rivalry throughout his career with the Rock?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've heard a lot of people talking about John Cena and Randy Orton having a match together and all this stuff to kind of bring that full circle. Don't you think they should do the same with Steve? If he comes back for one more match, should he have, come full circle on that?
I mean, to be clear, I don't want to see Rock back in the ring either.
He's
yeah,
worth
well, I'm
much,
not. I'm
he's
not going to
worth too much
argue
to
with
Hollywood. He's not getting back in the ring full time. I don't even know that he'll do another match.
I mean, he's obviously not even wanting to show up at WrestleMania just to come out of the ramp. We'll send Fiend Boy out there to do that. It'll be interesting. Like if he decides to come back for one more, I can't. I agree with you. I can't see an opponent that makes a lot of sense for. Where I would say, yeah, let's do that.
If there was somebody that it made sense, like anything, I agree completely. If there is anything he could do that would make sense, okay. But there's not.
Yeah.
There's just not anybody there that it makes sense for him to have a match with.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll go from that topic to crossing the line. So WWE cross traffic and NIL talent at a TNA Pittsburgh taping. There was a backstage list of quite a few people. Trick Williams, which makes sense, he's their champion, but Fallon Hilly was also there. JC Jane was also there, which JC's did a thing. I saw some video of that. NIL standouts also showed up there. Shaquan, I hope I said that right, Sugars. Alexander James. Also some indie talents like LJ Cleary, Mila Moore, Ashley Vox, and Jada Stone were all backstage as well. So just a lot of people kind of chilling backstage at a TNA event. Maybe that means we see some new faces on the TV. I'm always good with that. TNA was always, to me, that little engine that could. Like, they didn't get a lot of traction, but like they always got there, and they're still around after all these years. Whether it's like, a mildew situation of they just kind of grown on you, or they're around because they're great. Either way, I've always liked them though.
Did you just call TNA a mildew situation? Is that what you just said?
Sometimes during the Hogan years, yes.
Oh yeah, let's not go there.
Speaking of TNA, though, there was an unfortunate injury. Elijah, formerly known as Elias, he did get injured. He tore his triceps on an NXT after a top rope double knee spot. He did already have surgery for it. It was successful. So he's just healing and trying to come back. TNA's
that sucks.
Yeah, TNA's lead ringside doctor was on hand and helped the NXT medical team. It's unfortunate because he was having some real momentum. They were putting him on the top of the card and having him out there, between the NXT and TNA thing. it's unfortunate. You know,
Yeah.
it's very much it's back to the Liv situation. It's just bad timing for an injury. Very unfortunate for him. I don't
Yeah,
disagree
that
with you.
sucks.
Yeah, TNA is currently just kind of NXT's little brother. Um, I'm hoping with this new venture that they have, as far as having that free online option for their TNA app, hopefully that'll get them more eyes on them. Maybe we can get an actual cable deal for them at some point. That would be kind of nice. Or WWE will buy them, and then they can just be on the network with them.
I don't see that helping them at all, honestly.
No, not if they're bought. No, I don't see that being helpful at all. Because as we've already seen, WWE's already signed one, and is currently working with another AAA talent for them to be full-time WWE talents instead of AAA talents. So we're gonna just use it as a feeder system. Not really gonna help them out. Last little bit of news here. Bryan Danielson popped up on a recent AEW, the show that was in Mexico. So there is rumors of him possibly returning. He's been on the shelf dealing with neck and physical wear and tear, but hasn't had any surgery. He's just been kind of recouping, trying to get better. He's served as a
He's been
creative.
out this whole time and didn't have surgery?
No, has not had surgery. He served as a creative consultant and an occasional media face. He made a surprise save for Blue Panther at ROH Global Wars in Mexico, a deeply personal appearance. AEW has protected language around his retirement, only calling it the end of his full-time competition when they bring it up. AEW appears to be laying groundwork for his return. Wheeler Yuta is using Danielson moves, likely as a placeholder, kind of trying to tell that story of if he comes back, there's a reason for him to come back. What do y'all think about Danielson coming back if he comes back?
Yeah, he's not wrong. Yeah, he's going to fuck Yuta up. That's not even going to be a... he's going to kick his fucking head in. Like, he's going to monkey stomp Wheeler Yuta. And it's going to be so good for Yuta, too. Because he's going to make Yuta look good. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Danielson's 100% kicking him in the face, though.
It will happen. All right. Well, with the news being done, we'll go ahead and switch over to the 3 count. If I can click the right button. That's right. Here's where you get to shine a little bit. I'll go ahead and give you some time to prepare your thoughts, though, and prepare yourself, because I'm going to go ahead and start us off, because mine are a little less heavy than your 2 are, so we'll get through the light stuff quick, and then we can have some deep conversations, especially with everybody in the chat. Everybody in the chat, obviously, as we're talking about these topics, anything you want to say about it, bring in. We will bring you into the conversation. So my first thing is Sami Zayn drops a statement and a fist. So during Raw, he had a little conversation when he went back to the back with Karrion Kross. Hopefully this is coming up to a storyline between the two. We've already got a match that's going to happen at Night of Champions, if Night of Champions happens. But, they're going to have a little scuffle there. To me, I just want to bring it up because it was such a fun little backstage segment. He goes back there, and of course, Karrion's, talking this trash to him. He's like, you know what? I'm tired of listening to you. I'm tired of hearing everything you got to say. Ends up decking him. And to me, the funny part is when he's on the ground, he's holding his jaw. Scarlett kind of comes up behind him and slaps him and goes, stop it. And then he moves his hand, and he's cracking a smile and laughing. So it was all his plan. It was to get him a match with him on a PLE. A lot of fun stuff there. The second count, Toni Storm. Just when I thought her character was kind of losing some steam a little bit, she goes out there on Collision and has this amazing promo. Still can't hear you. Quit muting yourself.
I said, I think you mean Carmen Sandiego.
Well, yep, we found her. She was there. We
found Carmen Sandiego. We know where in the world she is.
But it's one of those things, like when we talked about her a while back and this character, and like, where do you go with that? Because can you just keep doing this, 40s black and white character? Can you keep doing that shtick? Well, she's amped it up a little bit because now we've got the red silhouette and all that, and it's a little different than it was then. But just, of course, her doing the things that she knows how to do. She didn't break character. She weaponized everything, using phrases like neurotic, erotic, bottom-heavy, transatlantic whore. Is the only Tony Storm can say this shit and get away with it.
I love Tony Storm. This shit is so good.
But so, little bit about this promo though. I did find out that there's been a lot of question of, was this the storyline that we were going with to begin with her against Mercedes? Apparently it is. There's a lot of question of just with the girls that have left because of injuries. Was there any way that she was going to be in part of storylines with them instead? No, apparently it was always to get her to Mercedes. So we're ending where they wanted us to go. And the last one is, I just want to shine some light on one of my new favorites, Nikki Blackheart. Just became a phenomenon almost overnight. She's posted a couple of pictures, and she's blown up on Twitter since. And basically, if Saraya and Rhea Ripley had a baby, this is what would pop out.
So you shared that video of her power slam, which is so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Dustin retweeted it.
I did see that, yeah.
And I think that was, yes, I'm not any motherfucker. It was just, that was such a good line too. They bleeped it on the replay on Max. I was pissed. But yeah, Dustin reposted that, and she's at like 20K followers now, and
yeah,
I'm here for it. She looks fantastic, and she seems to have her stuff together.
Yeah. So I think the question is there then is that anytime you have one of those like flash moments of someone getting big, who's the first person that's going to try to swipe her up? Are we trying to get her in the NIL program or the WWE ID program, or is AEW going to try to swipe her up?
Personal opinion, if she's smart, she stays on the independents right now.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go anywhere at the moment.
Right. Ride that wave.
Because there's a lot happening that if you just ride this out for a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you ride this out for a little bit and let the hype just stay where it is, you're gonna make a bunch of money.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would like to see like GCW or somebody, Deadlock, somebody, Maple Leaf, bring her in. Like, she's getting eyes on her. Use that.
Yeah.
Be one of these smaller companies that goes, hey, you know what? Let's grab her for a couple shows and see what happens.
Yeah. Speaking of grabbing her for a show, I'm going to go ahead and make sure this gets clipped out. Hey, if you want to come on our show for an interview, we're down.
Yes. Miss Blackheart, we got you. Just let us know.
That's right. Anyway, on to Lady Alpha's 3 count. So your first one you want to talk about is WWE should make a bigger effort to attract more female fans. So let you have the floor. What do you want to talk about?
Wow. I just I saw this happen. I watched this happen with the NFL when more women started watching professional football. You know, their revenues increased. It just became a bigger beast, and I think WWE has been climbing toward that. You know, that level of success, but they're still, in a way, kind of alienating women from their product, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, for example, look, you can go to www.shop.com, whatever, and go click on women's apparel. And I've already done this. You know, I bought some stuff from WWE Shop, so, you know, but the t-shirts are they're just men's shirts in women's sizes. Don't get me wrong, we appreciate that. But the only thing that's literally in there that would make it even remotely just women is the leggings. They added a few pairs of leggings, and now they think that's their women's line. And no, we need more than that. Not unisex clothing pieces. You want to attract women fans. Women fans want more elaborate, like, well, tank tops and more options. Most women aren't big sock wearers, so the crew socks that they've got on women's apparel, that's not hidden with anything. The luchador masks and the other stuff. I mean, why is that in women's apparel? It's really not. And I just think they should make a little more effort to attract fans. They can have women's only promotional events. Send someone like Rhea or Io to visit events that are more women centric and stuff like that. Main events, more women main events. And I love Evolution. I love this the Evolution that's coming up, the all women, and I'm hoping that works to bring more. But I just think WWE is not quite, especially the in the broader spectrum, like the fans, the shows, the podcasts, they're not safe spaces for women. They are, but for the most part, but there's still things that go on and that are said that women would be like, oh no. Yeah, I don't want no part of this. I don't want to hear this mess. So, I just, on the whole, that more needs to be done to make WWE more women friendly and bring in more fans.
Yeah, I could certainly agree with that. Like I will say, like they've pivoted over the years to make women less of an object on the show, and that's great. I think allowing some of their women to keep that little like sexual edge to them, like letting them do it themselves instead of forcing them into bra and panty matches and stuff like that. I think that's also been a good step. But I do think it's been better for like younger girls, because like girls watching it, like they see these larger than life women on the screen, they want to be them. But I agree with you, like bringing in some of the women who are already like at adult age, trying to change something to bring them in would be a great strategy for them. And I, like, obviously I'm not a woman, so I've never looked on WWE Shop for any woman apparel. But if it's that lacking for women, like that amazes me that they're not trying to gear towards them too, of their own line of stuff. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, really. And but we don't want to all look alike.
Mm-hmm.
All wear the same clothes as the guys,
Right.
There has to be some give and take.
Absolutely.
With, some, the NFL's got some really cute stuff, so if they need inspiration.
This is one of the biggest complaints that we as the Heels group on AEW have. The merchandising. Now, I will say Pro Wrestling Tees does a pretty good job overall.
Mm-hmm.
But AEW itself, WWE, and every other company, no, the merchandising's like, you're not helping yourself because you're not letting the female fans have the clothes they want to wear, which would support your product and get more eyes on you. Like, it's a domino effect.
Mm-hmm.
We know this. So yeah, the merchandising is a huge thing. And it definitely hurts overall, though, not having options like that for female fans.
Yeah.
It's how you bring other females in, because women talk about their clothes. I know people are like, it's a cliche. No, it's fucking not. Because if a woman says it's a nice dress and it has pockets, we're all going, yeah, and it has pockets. So if somebody says something about your shirt, you're going to respond to it.
just because like after you brought this topic up to me, I started thinking about it. The female voice in some areas has also been stifled, because if you think about it, like look at the panels before PLEs, look at the panels after the PLEs, look at the commentary teams. Like we've went from having like a splattering of women in those things to we're back to 90% men in those. Even just putting some female voices in those roles, having a female on commentary, having a female on the panel, having a female doing the questioning at one of the press events after a PLE, just that to bring a voice back to it where women can see themselves there, because that's the entire point of the inclusivity of wrestling, is you're supposed to see yourself on the screen. And if women literally are not seeing themselves on the screen 90% of the time, then what are we doing?
Yeah. I love that they include bigger women. Nia and Piper, I love seeing them in action. I mean, that is awesome, because I relate obviously more to heavier women, and so it's nice to see myself represented in that kind of field. I mean, the things these women do, I just go, oh my God, I'd break something.
Yeah, I feel you. As an Otis sized person myself, seeing Otis up there.
You are not. Stop it.
Fine, closer to Kevin Owens, but still.
Okay.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that.
No, but I mean, same thing though. Like, I think about when I was a kid, and you had like even the like comedy characters like Hillbilly Jim, like those dudes were stacked. And it's like, well, I don't see myself up there. And so I always catered more towards like the Vaders. So I'm like Big Van Vader, like that's a big dude doing a lot of cool shit. That's me out there. Absolutely, Stampede. The fact that, obviously I can't, I hate the term like they shouldn't have let her go, because like obviously she wanted to be over there with her husband. Makes perfect sense. Right. They probably couldn't have kept her. But then, like, why didn't we start shifting like not a Kelly Kelly, sorry. Kathy Kelly into a role like that. Or start doing what you did with Samoa Joe, with Kevin Owens, with CM Punk, and have them do like rotations on commentary, where every once in a while a female wrestler is just on commentary with them and just kind of hanging out there. You're not that big either, sir. I can make that joke. I'm on camera. But anyway, all right. So your number 2 is you want to talk about fans talking about their love and hate and taking it too far. Where do you want to go with that?
Yeah. That is something that's stuck in my craw for forever, and in every public role. It's just it's ridiculous. Come on now. These are athlete actors, just like entertaining people. They're not, I mean, it's no different than watching a television series, okay? The story, or a soap opera. I know one of the podcast friends is Vinny
over in Suds Media.
So it's really no different, only it's added, activity, like the wrestling. It's added the sport.
Yeah.
But essentially these are actors. And I've heard people say they wanted to punch Dom in the face with that whole Dom when he turned on Rhea. And then of course we've got, Liv. I just read a story about her being stalked, and I've heard some of the comments that's been made too about that, and it's ridiculous.
Sonya dealt with it too.
Yeah.
Like they put her up at a safe house basically for like a month because of it.
Yeah. The unfortunate thing with the wrestling is, and I think eventually that may die off, or at least I'm hoping it will, with age. because you still have people like my age, Tori's age, that have been watching it forever. And, up until 98, 99, somewhere in there, we were under the impression or being told, some of us had figured it out and been smartened up by then, but we were told, like, this is real. It's a real thing. Stone Cold's really going out there and stomping the shit out of his boss. That's really happening. And so there are people that hold on to that. There's a meme out there that's been out there forever. Is like, it's still real to me, damn it. And that's how some of these dudes feel, is like it's still real to them. And so those people have a hard time making that disconnect of like, that dude that I hate so much on TV is just a dude that lives in San Diego with his dad. And they have a hard time making that disconnect. I feel like a lot of the stuff, like the unfortunate thing about the Sonya thing, the Liv thing, and I think there was more information that was brought out about the Roxy one. Like, it wasn't about her after they dug into it more, but there was a thing about like Roxy being stalked after too. You blame the Undertaker? That's right. It's all Undertaker's fault. Stayed kayfabe for all those years. Until that one time he didn't, and then it confused us all. Because it's like, why is the Undertaker out there in a denim shirt? Sorry. Inside joke for those who've been watching it for too long. But, I mean, those situations, like, those are obviously people that have mental issue as it is. Because surely you don't look at the screen and go, like, obviously I'm in love with Liv, or I am in love with Sonya, and I'm going to go to her house. Not like, that would have happened to Jenny down the street if it didn't happen to Sonya on TV. So that person is the problem in those cases. But I do get what you're saying, though, of like, people get these personal attacks while they're out, and it's dumb. It's just like, these are just people. You can chant what you want, you can say what you want when you're in those stands, but like, if you see that person in face to face while you're at a Walmart or whatever, that's just a dude. His name's not even really Dominic. Like, why are we doing that?
Yeah, his dad's not even really Rey Mysterio. It's Eddie Guerrero.
That's right. Screw what that match said. But like, you've got love going too far with the stalker situations. People feeling like they have to protect the people that they see on TV, or the hate going too far of people dogpiling on wrestlers over botches or creative decisions, which neither one of those usually are even their fault. I was really surprised, and this is one of those few times, Big Mike, close your ears, I'm going to give the IWC some credit, because we didn't hear anybody blaming Kyrie for what happened to Liv. And so,
unfortunately, that's not true.
Oh, have you seen some?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. But like, it's not their fault when these things happen. It's a performative art. If someone fell off the trapeze, you're not blaming the other person on the trapeze for that happening. It happened. They made that decision to do this dangerous thing. And then lately I've heard more about like personal attacks on people's families and people's partners and things like that. Like, that's even going a step even further too far of like, all right, you hate the person you see on TV, but why are you messing with their wife? Like, what does that accomplish in this conversation? Yeah, I mean, obviously we don't support any of that kind of crap. Like, that's ridiculous. Crossing into personal attacks, doxing people, stalking their homes, those types of things. It's just too far. You want to love wrestling, but then you lose your humanity while you're doing it. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
you're not wrong.
Your last one, we talked about it a little bit last week, but it is your 3 count, so I definitely wanted you to bring up what you wanted to, because I think it happened the day we streamed, so that's the only reason we brought it up. But Rhea Ripley's reaction to Liv Morgan's injury. You want to talk about that?
I was just, I love Rhea. Okay,
we all did.
I loved her. I loved her before I actually started watching wrestling. So to me, Rhea Ripley is goals in a lot of ways. But now she's gold this way.
Mm-hmm.
And that she did something that is not common, and she broke character to come out and defend Liv to fans that were celebrating the injury. And I mean, that was outstanding. I mean,
it does, and this to me, like the previous topic is a perfect segue into this one, because like that negativity is what brought that reaction out of her, is because people were talking about, well, good thing she's injured, she gets off my TV. There were people wishing that injury on other performers. Like there's a whole bunch of negativity revolved around the fact that Liv got hurt, and like those people aren't thinking about the fact that, well, this girl now can't do the thing that she loves to do in her job. Like something was taken away from her in a moment, and you're worried about making a quip or making a joke or whatever instead of her health and well-being in that conversation. So Rhea sticking up for her in that moment is amazing.
Yeah, 100%. And it was an absolute fluke injury. Like there was nothing that was done that should have caused that. She just landed wrong. Shit happens.
Yeah. Which, like, when we were talking about it last week, like I'd actually seen a slow-mo video of like how it happened, and it literally was just like her right elbow hit before her hand hit.
Yep.
And so it jammed her arm like up out of socket. So I mean, it's so unfortunate, and I think we reported on it last week, but I just to bring it here, so like they did decide it is going to end up being a surgery situation. So they haven't said officially what it is, but I mean that means like torn rotator cuff, or maybe one of the ligaments tearing, like something happened there. But she's going to be out for quite a few months, and that's really unfortunate. But yeah, Rhea coming out as the shining knight in that situation is great.
Yeah, it's sad that she had to, first of all. It's horribly sad that she had to come out and say, hey, let's not be dicks. But here we are.
Yeah, not a lot of positive things to be said about the human race anymore, you know?
No, it's unfortunate, but you know, that's why we try to have this safe space here, like, you know, wrestling being the nice inclusive thing that it should be. All right, well, Tori, we've left you as the main event, ma'am. The first thing you want to talk about is the 8 women tag. So speaking of women inclusion and showing women on the screen, good Lord, did this do that?
Right. I have to give, now, this has been a criticism of mine with AEW, is not near enough women's wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Tony and Mercedes are very heavily involved right now because we're going into All In. But in general, no, they don't do a great job of having enough. Right now, the best one for that is NXT, period. But Saturday night for Collision, we had an 8 women's match. Thunder Rosa, Tay J, so Tay Mello and Anna J, and Queen Aminata against Megan Bain, Penelope Ford. Oh shit, who was the other one? Athena and oh my god, I just went blank.
Tekla,
that's right. I just drew a complete blank.
I only remember her because the entire match I'm going, is she a heel? Because
they're trying to make her one. She's not. So it was one of those things that the backstage segments were great. The faces were all on the same page. Like, it was so good. And then they need to announce tag belts. I'm about tired of waiting on that shit. They need to do it the Dynamite before All In, just so I can be there. I don't know for sure yet, but I'm hoping. That's just me putting it out there.
Hey, put it on the ether. You need to be there.
So
and you need to take the toy I bought you, and you need to take the mics with you, and
right. Then they do the heels backstage. Where Tekla doesn't really say much. Penelope and Megan are talking, and then Athena comes in and starts trash talking them all. And she looks at Megan Bain and says, "I'm bigger than you." And Megan Bain literally goes, like, literally looked at her own boobs and then looked at Athena. And I'm like, that's just wrong, but it's funny.
mm-hmm.
The match itself was fantastic. Like, it was good start to finish. No complaints. Cheat to win. I'm fine with the way they did it. These 8 there were little moments. I think it's still some of Tekla getting used to them used to her used to the ring and everything, because it's different.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, it was a great match. It was a lot of fun, and the backstage segment alone made it worth it.
Yeah, and Stampede, that's is true. It seems like they're building that division first, which, I mean, doing that opposite of what WWE did, because we started a tag team division and didn't really have any tag teams there. So
I won't be surprised. I know that WWE is doing Evolution. I won't be surprised if AEW ends up doing an all-women's show, even if it's just online. I won't be surprised if they do it.
Yeah.
They've got the roster for it.
They do. So, it. First of all, the match was great, start to finish.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was a lot of fun.
One thing that was really kind of noticeable to me, though, is Tekla has a mind for pageantry and camera work, and AEW doesn't know how to do that yet. Because there's a couple of times where, like, she's doing some motions to the camera that I'm like, if that camera would just turn on, because it's looking at her looking at a camera, and it's like, no, get that camera feed, the one that she's staring at while she's doing these moves and doing these things, because those are those shots that, like, Keith Lee is not someone we talk about nearly as much, but like those moments with him, like, those are memorable moments that people will talk about, whether they know about wrestling or not, because they'll see it on a GIF 2 weeks from now.
Yep.
And it'll get posted all over the internet for different reactions. Yep. That's what you need to do. But, like, they're too busy. I don't know what they were doing, but, like, they're pointing a camera at her, but not the right camera. Weird.
Yeah, that's one of those things, and I'm kind of hoping her doing this will help them learn to do that better.
Yeah.
That's kind of my hope.
And then you wanted to talk about, to me, probably match of the day when it happened. Cody versus Jay. By that look on your face, I'm going to guess that you wouldn't have a difference of opinion there.
No. To be fair. You're not wrong, Stampede. I'd love to see that. That'd be amazing. And you want to see an arena sell out? Do that shit. That'd be crazy. My issue is, did anyone actually think Jay was going to win this? That's my first question.
So I will say no one in my circle. However, there was a big clamoring for there to be a Jay versus Sammy in the finals. And so there was a lot of people that were pushing for Jay to win that. My thing is, I think Big Mike said this also on the wrap up show that him and John do. Cody and Randy's just a better story. Like, that's a built-in story for you to have that.
It is.
And not that Jay and Sammy would have been a bad match or a bad story, but, like, we've seen that story recently. We have not seen Randy versus Cody on a real stage in a while.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just think we were over the Jay and Gunther thing, and I mean, he had the championship for a while, Not long enough. I thought they took it too soon, but I understand why they did. And it's done. I mean, don't go down there again. So I knew Cody was going to win this one.
Yeah. Well, and we had talked about last week. I personally don't think either one of them should have been in the tournament to begin with. Cody's at that level that he hasn't had his return match yet for his title, so he could have just turned around and said, like, look, I haven't had my rematch. I pinned John Cena at Saturday Night Main Event. It was a tag match, but I pinned him. Why hasn't he had a shot for the title already? And then Jay just lost his title. So why hasn't he had his rematch? And so we've got them in this tournament fighting for a rematch that both of them literally could just walk into the office and go, I want my rematch. And everybody would have been justified in saying, okay. But
I do agree with that. But I mean, that and I agree with a lot of people that they should have brought Karrion Kross in. I've only seen that man wrestle once. I'm very intrigued to see, more of him. His character intrigues me.
Yeah.
And I don't see him enough. And I'm like, no, we need more of this.
he is a great character. I did see something posted today that supposedly was a behind the scenes thing. It wasn't something I saw on Fightful, so I always take that stuff with a grain of salt. But it said that one of the reasons that he hasn't been on a grander scale is because of he has a limitation in the ring, which I'd never thought about until I saw some videos that they posted of him not taking a back bump. And they're saying that supposedly there's something going on that he can't take a back bump.
Who can't?
Karrion. And then they posted some videos, and sure enough, like where you would normally take a back bump, like he lands to the side or he lands forward instead of backwards. And it's like, I've never noticed that before. And that's something I'll keep an eye out on now. But like, if that's a legitimate thing that he just can't take a back bump, I can kind of see why they would hold off on bringing him on the main roster.
Yeah.
If that's a thing.
If that's actually a thing.
Who do we have? Person? That's barbed wire. Good Lord. Do we want to throw anything in there? Like cheklas or chanclas or anything else in that? Good Lord.
Why don't you just call it the kitchen sink? It would have been faster.
He is. He's going to be 40 in a couple of weeks. Here's the thing. If he can't go in the ring like everybody else, still letting him go would be a dumb decision. He's got such a great mind, and his promos are fantastic. Like, you keep him around for the knowledge, if nothing else. And here's the thing. His wife can go. Have him just go out there with his wife.
Yeah.
And have her go. Because she's amazing in the ring. People forget about that. There's a match between her and Jacob Fatu. Go look that up. Please do. Please send us a link for that. I want to watch this 30 minutes of just random shit in the ring. Your last thing you want to talk about, this is the reason you were the main event, because I figured this was going to be the thing that would take most of the topics. I think it's mostly what anybody that saw the thumbnail and have clicked on it, the 48 people that are currently are watching, I'm pretty sure that's all they were thinking we were going to talk about, is Night of Champions. Let me run through just kind of in case anybody is not up to speed with what it is, and then we'll open it up to our conversation of it. But reports on June 23rd from outlets including Cage Seats cited that geopolitical concerns in the Middle East, including alleged military activity near the U.S. bases in Qatar, as potentially impacting WWE's Night of Champions in Riyadh. Excuse me. Social media posts circulated claiming that WWE talent was stranded or that the event might be postponed or canceled. As of today, the last thing that I saw before we came on, a fact-checking site, Lead Stories, published an article confirming that no official statement has been made by WWE, even though there was one that was circulated through Twitter, that was a falsified thing. It was not actually a statement that was made. But there still has been no change in them going forward with the show, that they are still going to go forward with the show. As the most recent updates, WWE has not politically altered plans for Night of Champions, and the event remains scheduled to proceed. So, Tori, here's your pulpit. Go ahead.
I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to defer to start with. Do either of you want to comment on this before I do? Because this may be a minute.
Lady Alva, I defer to you first.
I think it's not a good idea to go there. Just don't. I think it needs to be moved stateside. Whether, I mean, I know there's supposed to be some kind of ceasefire taking place. Even under those circumstances, I don't trust things over there, and I just think it would be smarter to keep it here.
I would agree with that. Anything that is said on Twitter is probably something that's going to be a lie at the end of the day. We have been told that there are ceasefires in other situations that it did not happen. We have been told that there are other things that should have happened because of other things that were put in place that did not happen the way that they were told to us. So I'm very questionable about they're saying that there's a ceasefire. My main concern, and I think everybody's concern, is the safety of these people. Sending them over to what could be a live war zone of people who are massively against U.S. and its representatives, them walking into that area is probably not the best idea. And I can understand on a business aspect of you have a contract and you have to monetarily do things over there. There's got to be some way that conversation could be happened in a boardroom of like, look, you guys know what it's like over there right now. I'm not saying we don't do it. I'm saying maybe we push this off. We'll put this here. We'll even maybe offering a bigger event, because you gave them Night of Champions, which not a massive event. You know, hey, we'll give you a Survivor Series down the line. We'll give you a SummerSlam down the line. They're already giving a Mania. So, like, hey, we'll give you another big event. Let us take this one back home. They've already got Vegas pretty much locked up for the rest of the week. I'm sure they could work some deals and do Vegas for this event too, and not send anybody over there. But I'm not in the boardroom. I'm not in the room where it happens. There you go. There's another just for Big Mike.
Well done.
So maybe they can't do that, or maybe they have already tried. But yeah, I think going over there is a very bad idea. Sorry?
Okay. So
should I start the clock?
I'm going to apologize at first because of how I'm going to say this, but I almost feel like this at this point should be a segment. Are you fucking kidding me that this is a conversation? There is no way this should be happening. I understand when they did tribute to the troops, when they first started it, they went to Afghanistan, they did it at a base. They told no one where they were. This was to an extent, well done. This was to an extent, when they did tribute to the troops at the base, was a need to know. They didn't tell everybody where they were broadcasting from until the day of. The fact that this is an active war zone. Yes, there was a ceasefire, and they both broke it within 5 hours. Yeah, I'm not going to make this a big politics thing. I totally could stand on that, but I'm not going to, because that's not what this is about.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do if you do this and somebody chunks a bomb in the middle of the stadium? That shit's going to get broadcast.
Can I pause you just for a second to throw a little more fuel on that fire? Those of you that are posting here's what's going to happen, and you're doing the Cody Rhodes entrance and then doing an A-bomb after it, fuck you.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's not funny.
It's not fucking funny. It's not funny. If you do this, you literally run the risk of your fans watching a minimum of a third of your high end of your roster being killed because of some money. I obviously hope that if they go, nothing happens.
Mm-hmm.
I don't wish that on anyone. If they go and something happens, I'm going to stand on business. I'm done. I will never watch the WWE again because there was no reason to go. I don't care about your contract. You pay a fine. Who fucking cares? Do they have somebody's daughter in a basement and they're just not telling anybody? Is that what we're worried about? Because this is stupid. There is not a single fucking reason to be going over there for this show. Not a one. Where were they going to do it here? I can tell you right now, you find an arena in any town in this country, you say, hey, guess what? For one night only, we're coming to this town, we're going to do this show, and guess what? Everybody gets in free. Do you think you're not going to still have the biggest crowd and still make a shitload of money? Or you sell every ticket for $20 at the door. Something. This is a terrible idea. Terrible idea.
Well, and you can't see that gets my promoter mind working. Because you're talking about like, well, if you bring it over here, cheaper tickets, screw that. Take the hit and do free tickets. Do Vegas, it's free. Anybody can come. People will drive from across the United States. Make it a big U.S. event. And
I'm literally with days' notice they'll do this. Mm-hmm. Hey, Oklahoma City just finished their basketball season. That ring is ready to go. Not that I'm going to go to the show, but 100%. Do it in there. Like, there's so many reasons to not do this.
Yeah.
But God forbid we turn down a paycheck. I could not be more against this. Yes, it is political. That's a huge part of it. I hate to break it to people, but this company is a humongous Trump supporter. That's a good idea. Let's put all of these people in that arena, knowing what this company supports, and think nothing's going to happen. May the odds be ever in your favor.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. Like you have to think of is the tie-in. Here's the thing: whether you fall on one side of the fence or the other side of the fence, that's never anything that I've had a problem with. It's how you treat people. Like to me, that's the bottom line of it. But a good portion of the upper echelon of that company has came out and said that they're Republican and said that they support Trump. And you have Linda McMahon herself on his staff, and you've had Triple H and Stephanie show up at things. And just kind of as an aside here, no, Cody Rhodes did not show up to a rally. Do your research. That's not what happened. That was a whole different thing, but that's a different conversation.
But no.
But yeah, I mean, it puts more of a target because it's open in media that they are in support of that regime, and so obviously that makes it even more of a target for them.
Yep.
Like there's so many ways you go about it.
Yes, these 100%. They got kids. They're like Heath Slater. They got kids. But I mean, I hate to say this. Yeah, no, you're not wrong at all. What happens to the company if you send everybody over there for this, looking at that card, and something happens, and you lose half of that card? Let's just go off just half of that card. Half of the people on that card, something happens. Again, I don't want something to happen. I'm not saying I hope something happens. I'm saying as a hypothetical, what happens to the company when you lose 20 of your top stars right now?
Mm-hmm.
What happens?
That's a
What happens when you lose your CEO, your chief operating officer, because he's in Gorilla?
Yeah, that's
what happens
a
to your
mass
locker
exodus
room?
situation.
Like, does the company survive this?
Yeah,
because the lawsuits are going to be massive.
Yes.
And I know everybody's going to say they're independent contractors. You're right, they are, but they still have rights, even as independent contractors.
Yep. And they are liable.
Yep.
Well,
this is a terrible idea.
It's like this, like you're an independent contractor, but you're also not. Like, and that's where that weird thing always is of like, they are independent contractors, but they're also part of the company. It's not like they can turn down the job because they don't want to go. It's like everybody says that that's what's going on with Dom right now. Like, Dom is telling them he wasn't going to go, and that's why they're doing this injury thing. First of all, Dom doesn't have that clout. I love Dom. I think Dom is a great character. I think he's amazing at what he's doing. Dom doesn't have that strength of status in the company that they couldn't replace him tomorrow.
I disagree.
Really?
With where Dom is and what he's done with this character and how much the fans have reacted to it, both good and bad, I don't think you can just replace Dom like that. I guarantee he heard what was going on and he said, I think I need to take a PTO day.
I'm calling sick on Saturday.
Literally. 100%, Big Mike, if they even show up for work the next day.
Yeah, we could definitely have a situation very similar to when what was the issue then? I think it was the screw job. The day after that happened, like a lot of people didn't show up for work on Monday.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, fuck it, I'm not going.
Look at what happened in WCW with the whole Hogan thing.
Mm-hmm.
When Jarrett went out and laid down.
Yep.
I'm telling you, and this would be something on a scale that obviously unseen ever.
Yeah.
Like
it's nuts.
That's what I'm saying. It's just 100% Stampede. That's what I'm talking about, though. This is a terrible idea. Start to finish, this is a terrible idea. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
But I do think he's in a good enough position with fans and merchandise and storyline to be able to have some call. Do I think he can? No, he's not on that level as those people. But his place in the show, I feel like he's got enough to say, I'm not going over there, bro. I just got married.
Yeah. Well, and I could see a couple of people that are going over there that would have pulled that card that are definitely at that level. Because we all know what Punk had said before about going over there. I'm sure if he had a choice, he would not be going. And then you've got a situation of Cena going over there for one of his final matches, and I'm pretty sure he's one of those that would not want to go. But it's a very contentious situation. We'll see what happens. Stampede, I agree with you. Like, I think at this point, unless they change it last minute, I don't think as a show, I don't think we're going to talk about this event. I think we are going to just go dead silent on Night of Champions.
We're going to have to acknowledge from it.
Right. But not talking about the event.
Because of what's going to follow.
Right.
But do we need to talk about it? No.
Nope.
Will I take the time to watch it Saturday? Probably not.
Yeah.
If I happen to not be doing anything, I might. I'm not planning for it like we have with everything else.
Yeah. It's not on my list of to-dos, that's for sure.
No.
I think we go ahead and close that off, though, unless, Lady Alpha, do you have any final thoughts on that before we move on?
No, she covered it.
All right. In that case, we'll go ahead and start kind of rounding out here. So first of all, real quick, before we move on to the next thing, let me go ahead and get the 3 count off the screen. All right, get off there. If you're enjoying what me, Tori, and Lady Alpha as a special guest today are doing here at Kicking Out 2, talking about wrestling, doing our gaming stuff, any of all that stuff, and doing it all with no tribalism, no gatekeeping, then you've got to check out the rest of the Chairshot Media group. This group includes people like The Run-In with Big Mike, who's in the room with us here, and his buddy Sped. Lowdown with Princess Skywalker and John Anthony. We talked about Vinny earlier in the Suds and Squared Circle Media. Ultimate One, who's now officially became a part of us as well, with the Chokeslam Wrestling Report podcast. A lot of great people, a lot of great things that are there. We're all different voices, but we all have the same mission, talking about wrestling the way it should be talked about. So at the end of the day, do the thing. All the links are down in our descriptions, so hit up any of those channels, support all our friends. We appreciate it. With that, though, we're going to go ahead and close out. Little outro today, as it has been the rest of the month. Pride Month is a reminder that wrestling is for everyone. No matter who you are or who you love, you deserve to be welcome in and around the ring. Inclusion makes the wrestling world stronger, and it's on all of us to keep that bell ringing for everyone. Make sure to catch us on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, BlueSky. Sign up for our Discord, which is above. Normally it's above my head. I haven't put it on this one, so catch one of our other episodes. It's there, or catch it in the description below. From there, you can share your thoughts, share your faves, and keep this conversation going. We actually got a new subscriber. I don't know who it is yet because YouTube hasn't told me who it is yet. Thanks, YouTube, for being behind. But once that happens, I'll make sure we put that out there. Before we close out, though, Lady Alpha, thank you for being here. Where can people find you?
Thank you for having me, first off. Even though I stumbled over everything.
You did fine.
I'm just primarily on X at Lady Alpha KK. That's KAYKAY. And that's pretty much it.
All right.
I'm not really active anywhere else.
I heard a little birdie tell me that there's a possibility you might be showing up on some other things coming up here soon. So we will look forward to that. I won't let any of that go because nobody's promoted anything yet. So I'll leave that be. But look forward to seeing you on there. And obviously you always have a home here. Anytime you want to drop in, we have it set up here. And once we get set up on the new system, it'll be a lot easier than what we had to go through today. So
right.
Appreciate that. In the meantime and in between time, we will catch you on the next one. Bye.
Here's the cover. Can he do it? Kick out at 2.